Hello! My name is Emily, this is Snarked Spark, and welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about magical stitches, and if I seem a little upset, it's because I am! I had already recorded half an hour of this video when my mother called to talk about my birthday, and I paused filming, and then I went back to resume filming, and instead I accidentally deleted the recording. Guys, I was on such a roll, but I decided, you know what, it's fine, I'm just going to film. Sorry, I'm adjusting my light because it completely washes me out. I'm just gonna restart, refilm, and you know what, that's okay. Life happens, things get messy. So we're gonna try this again. We're talking about magical stitches, and I want to go over some announcements, and then I want to start as if we're starting from scratch. Since it's now February and everything has been released, it's kind of like the beginning of the year again. We've got a lot of questions, we've got a lot of information, and I just want to go over everything. So I want to start big and condense it and bring it down small. So, first off, I want to happily announce that if you are in the group, if you've seen the posts, if you've seen the names, the teams have been created and we have all been sorted, and the fates have decided not only am I a demigod, but I am your lead camper. That's right. So a little while back, just a couple weeks ago really, in January, Vicky approached me and asked if I would consider being like a head camper, like the lead camper. So Vicky is the creator, formerly known as Headmistress. She is now being known as the camp director. And then we have Sammy and Harriet, who are also admins, and they are the camp counselors. And then each of us, each of the groups have like a head camper, or lead camper. And I am the lead camper for the Demigods, which is awesome. We also have Rita and Alma are the others. I unfortunately cannot remember who they lead, but I know that I'm one. And so I am going to live this up to its fullest. I'm going to fully dive in and embrace my role, which also means I've decided that I am the daughter of the goddess Athena and of the mortal Daniel. The goddess part is wrong, but the Daniel part's true. So, because we are demigods after all, that is who we are representing, and everything was completely randomized, so if you didn't get on the team, you want to just know that it was random. They put us all into like a random generator and spit our names out, and y'all are stuck with me. So welcome to the crazy. This is me. I am super excited for this to happen though. I am beyond stoked. So welcome aboard, campers. Welcome to Team Demigod. I will be here celebrating you, encouraging you, answering as many questions as I can, and just overall being there to help you out. With that, please, please, please be patient with me. This is my first year acting in any sort of leadership role or capacity within this group. I've been a part of it since Harry Potter, but this is the first time that I really have like spoken up and really gotten involved, and put myself out there. So this is all new to me as well. But I just ask that you remember that all of us admins and all of us who have stepped up for these leader positions, we all have lives outside of the group and outside of FlossTube and outside of Facebook. I have an 8-year-old son and a husband and 3 pets and a job, so there's a lot going on, and I definitely have to step back sometimes and say this is my time, not your time, and I will be honest with you guys about that. I will be very frank and upfront. When it is time for me to go to bed or to decompress from the evening, I put the conversation on mute so I can go to sleep and my phone isn't buzzing. And then I wake up the next morning, take it off mute. That's what I did today, and it's worked out. And I catch up when I come back, and I try to just be involved. I've had it pulled up since I've come home, adding more people to the chat and to our group chat. So yeah, just remember, if you don't get an immediate answer right away, maybe we're in a different time zone, maybe I'm asleep, maybe I'm at work, maybe I'm with my family. And especially this coming week, I am going to go ahead and apologize in advance if you can't get a hold of me very easily. It is my birthday on Wednesday. Woo, yes, exciting. And I am going out of town. We will be traveling because I am separated from my family, and I really just want to be with my sister and my brother-in-law and my mom and my stepdad for my birthday this year with my husband and my son. And so we are just going home for the weekend. But we've taken time off work to accommodate our schedules. And I just want to go home and be with family. So I know that when I'm traveling, I will not have the best internet connection. And when I'm with my family, I'm going to be focusing on my family. I will still have downtime, and I will still have periods of time where I will be able to check on my phone and do stitching and stuff like that, but I'm not going to be as available as I am on like my normal days off or a normal weekend when I'm at home here. So, but please lean on your other campers, ask for help from everyone else. Just remember that our number one rule is that there is no bullying and we are respectful of each other, and just keep that in mind. So if someone asks for help and you know the answer, please do your best to answer them, but don't feel like you have to answer every single question. Just do what feels right to you. Also, Magical Stitches is now going to be closed. Vicky and the team decided that we actually are at a really good number. Everything has been divided up equally between the teams, so there's no unfair advantage for any one team, and so we are temporarily closing the group, getting all the last minute people who joined who want to be sorted into teams sorted, and then this is it until we open up again in July. We will then open back up and accept new members and do like the whole process again, because July is going to be a repeat of January, where we have kind of like a break, a time off month, where we will reevaluate, have kind of a breather, so on and so forth. So let's talk about what is going on. So we have the year-long event. We have a couple year-long events. The big one is the outrageous Headmistress Challenge, and think of that as a running total of all of your stitches for the year. Like, yes, there's an end goal, and the prompt that we're like using is that we're stitching the books, the Percy Jackson books. We're stitching them. So each page is 100 stitches, and ultimately your goal is to try and see if you can stitch the series, which is awesome. It's a really clever idea. If that overwhelms you and is too stressful, it can get really overwhelming for me. Like, those are huge numbers. I like to think of it instead in terms of just a running list, a running visual catalog of my stitches for the year. And so I've updated it at the end of the month, and it's like, I only worked on 4 different projects in January. I worked on Letters from Hogwarts, Book Lovers Bookshelf, Australian Dragon, and Praise Him with Strings. Sorry, I could not for the life of me. And so because I worked on those all month long for different tasks, but it all goes into your outrageous. Eisenhower's being whiny in the other room. So everything can go into outrageous. Okay? But everything can't go into everything. And I'm going to explain. So the other year-long thing we have is the build the cabins. We also have the full coverage battle and the smalls challenge, but we don't have all the information for smalls yet. I think it's supposed to be updated tonight or tomorrow. We're working on it. Just be patient with us. Full coverage is, if you have full coverage and you only like to work on full coverage, this is it for you. You just stitch away on your full coverage piece, And it only goes here. If you're working on your full coverage, it only goes there. Here's the exception. Say your full coverage piece will work for one of the homework prompts. You need to put a ending photo in the full coverage challenge. Say like, I'm stopping here at this stitch count. Go to homework. Take a separate set of photos. Do the homework prompt, a start and end photo there. And then you could go back to the full coverage challenge and say, like, I used it for homework. I am resuming from here. So those, say it's 300, those 300 stitches you put in homework do not count for the battle challenge, the full coverage battle challenge. Those are separate events. In total, though, all of those stitches that you put on your full coverage will count in the outrageous Headmistress challenge. Goodness, it's getting late. Okay. There's Eisenhower. Then let's talk about the build the cabins. This is welcome to Camp Half-Blood. We're trying to have another great session. Unfortunately, the camp's a little run down. We need your guys' help to rebuild the cabins. We have 20 cabins. No, 10 cabins. 20 cabins? Guys, this is why did they trust me? I don't even know how many cabins there are. We have 20. Dang it. Shoot. Anyways. So we have 20 cabins. Each cabin is 2,000 stitches. Same thing here. If you're working on a whip for building your cabins, and then you decide that whip works for homework, pause what you're doing there, go put it in your homework, and then come back. They are separate events. Everything goes into outrageous, but then it breaks apart down here. I viewed it as kind of like what I explained with the Semi-Sane Snowball Challenge. I picked, like I had those 3 whips, Australian Dragon, Book Lovers Bookshelf, and Letters from Hogwarts, with Letters from Hogwarts being my primary focus. I would try and use this one for all of the prompts if I could. If I had to work on something else or they fit, I would use the other 2 or take penalty on Hogwarts. I used Praise Him with Strings solely for the cabins. So the 800 stitches I put on Praise Him with Strings in the month of January, you're not going to see any of those in my homework posts. They're solely in my Build the Cabins post. That way, I'm not bouncing back and forth on the same project. I could keep my focus piece as my weekly focus ongoing, and when I had downtime or when I got hit with a snowball or whatever in that other group is when I would pull out Praise Him with Strings, because I wasn't consistently working on that one. It wasn't my focus, but I would pull it out when it was needed, do 100 stitches on it, count that into the cabins, and put it away again, just to say I touched it. So, and that worked out really well for me. That may not work for you, but it works well for me to have those individual focus pieces. Focus for each event. Find what works for you and do it. And that is going to be a tiered challenge. So we're all on level 1 for right now. Level 2 will be opened in March, but it's just ongoing. I will not have all 20 cabins stitched by March. I will keep going on level 1 until I am done. Then I will start level 2, and so on and so forth. This is a year-long thing. It goes all year. It doesn't mean that level 1 stops when level 2 starts, and whatever you got done, like, that's it, you're done. Like, no, it's keep going, okay? Then the other year-long task, I'm going to do the reading year-long, and then we're going to jump right into the monthly because they tie in together. So the year-long reading, I am actually a huge, huge fan of how the year-long reading challenge is set up. I think it's brilliant. I really like this format. I feel that it is incredibly open-ended and incredibly customizable for every single person. So it's outrageous. It's supposed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be hard. So a lot of people were like, 100 books? What? I only read 5 books a year. I only make it to 10 books a year. That's fine. It still counts. The ultimate challenge is, so she's given us a list of like 35 different categories. I think a couple of repeats, and that's okay. But we have categories. She would like us to pick 10 of those, and then within that category, read 10 books. So that would equal, at the end of the year, 100 books. 10 per challenge. 10 per group in the challenge. And we have everything from like genres, mystery, fantasy, horror, to very specific genres, psychological thrillers, needlecraft fiction. There's also nonfiction, and it just says nonfiction, biography, standalone, where they're just single books, series, young adult, focus on the setting, focus on the title, focus on the author. So there's a whole bunch of them here. And so everything is open-ended. And for me, I really, really like this because every single book you read could fit into multiple categories. Even though you can only put it into one, each book could work like that. So really, if you're someone who maybe doesn't read a lot in the year, what I would do is just keep a running list of the books I've read, and then come December, try and just fit them all in one category. Or maybe you go ahead and pick your category. Like say you're going to do female authors, and so just make sure every book you read is by a female. And then you've at least finished a category, or you've at least targeted a category. They're very vague. It's really nice. If you primarily like to read romance, perfect. Good for you. Done. Like, I think that's one of our... Oh, yes. Category 15 is romance. So, if you really like to read... if you really like to listen to audiobooks. I love to listen to audiobooks. I've already filled out half of the category for audiobooks in January alone. Ta-da! Like, you just put them there. It's great. I also really like that the books we are reading as a whole, we are supposed to be reading the Percy Jackson series. You can put those as well. And you can count those as young adult. You could count those as male author. You could count it as fantasy. If you've never read anything by Rick Warden before, you could put it as new to me. You could do it as male author. You could do the setting, I'm pretty sure it's set in the USA. You could do the setting as USA. You could also do it as series, and you could just put every single book in the series, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just grab that series one and just fill in all the books. And so I just really like how open it is. Which leads me into the monthly reading challenge. And why I'm going to go from the year-long reading challenge to the monthly one is because they are tied in together. So in the reading challenge, I'm in stitching. That's why it didn't look right. So in the reading challenge, basically we're trying to read. We're trying to get everyone interested in reading. So the focus book for each month is obviously going to be one of the Percy Jackson ones. So for the month of February, our focus is the first book of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, which is The Lightning Thief. That is our main focus. If you read this book and you finish it, you have to list... Sorry, I let them out because they were being whiny. Also, my kitchen smells amazing because I'm baking my dinner. Anyways. So, our focus, blah, blah, blah. If you read it, you list title, author, the date you started, the date you finished, and then they want us to tell you, to kind of prove that you read the book, you need to share either your favorite part or who your favorite character is that's not Percy. So, if you read the main book, you will earn 1,000 bonus stitches. And this year we're really focusing on stitches. So that's a really nice thing. It's a really nice incentive. You're earning stitches for reading. The other one, then they picked 4 of the categories from the year long. So we've already seen all of these. We're not given just like obscure prompts that we kind of have to find a book that fits. We are given something we're already looking at. And that is, we're doing a book with numbers in the title, a book that is set in the USA, something that has been published between 2011 and 2020, and needlework fiction. So, it has to be a minimum of 100 pages. And page length also matters this time. Before, it was just kind of read a book and get points. Now we've made it tiered because not everyone is a reader. Not everyone is a serious reader. Not everyone enjoys reading. And so some people are going to read smaller page count books or shorter length, or listen to shorter length audiobooks. Others like long, thick novels. So they've also given us like A, B, and C. They're giving us like an easy, medium, and hard version for all of these tasks, which again is brilliant. So find a book with a number in the title. I just started today, 1st of February, The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. So for this book could obviously fit in a number of categories on my year-long sheet, okay? It's by a female. It has a foreign international setting. It is a standalone. It is it could be either considered suspense or a psychological thriller. It's an audiobook. So it has all these different things. I'm using it for this month's genre prompt of a book with a number in the title, and I'm also doing that on my form. But all the other books, I don't really care. I'm not really focusing on books set in the USA. So I will pick a book, and I will more than likely just have it fit somewhere else on my list. I'll fit it into a category that I've already started. And I really, really like that. Publication year, that one's easy. Just make sure you double check what year it's actually been published, and you note that. So with the general ones, you have to, same thing. You list the title. So I'm going to use my example. It will be The Woman in Cabin 10, author Ruth Ware, date started February 1st, date ended, let's say February 8th. We'll see. And then I have to say how it fits the prompt. And I would say it has the number 10 in the title. Or I don't actually think it was published. Maybe it was published in the last decade. It was published in the year 2012. Whatever. You have to, before that though, so title, author, date started, date finished, length, so either in page count or in hour count. In mine, I wrote it down. My audiobook is 11 hours and 8 minutes long, which puts it in the long length category. Sorry, I'm itchy. So include the length and then how it fits the prompt. So I would say length is 11 hours, 8 minutes. How it fits the prompt, there's a number in the title. When I finish that, so I've finished that, and then I've earned, because I chose a long book based off the hours of audio, I will earn 1,500 stitches, which is awesome. All of it breaks down like that. Needlework fiction, I know it's kind of obscure. It seems a little weird. I know that there is the Needlecraft mystery series, and it's all about that. I did some research earlier because I do work at the library, so I was kind of digging into the catalog to see what I could find, and some older stuff popped up that I thought was interesting. The Scarlet Letter, because it is about how she has to sew this giant red letter A on her dresses and on her outfits, and that is part of it. I have put on hold for myself to read The Color Purple because I've never read it. I want to. I've never read it. I should have read it. But also, one of the key points in the book is that two of the characters come together and they start making a quilt together. So it doesn't necessarily have to be cross stitch. It can be any sort of needle craft. That's why it says needle craft. Knitting, crocheting, stitching, sewing, quilting, anything that uses needlepoint, anything that is considered like a needle art. So maybe consider the color purple if it's stumping you and you don't really want to read like a series or if you don't want to start a brand new series or just grab a random book in the series and be kind of lost. Check that out. I know Alias Grace by Atwood. What's her? Margaret Atwood? The person who wrote The Handmaid's Tale also wrote a book called Alias Grace. I read that a couple of years ago. It's fantastic, but that one also would work. Quilts and quilting plays a really large part in that book. Every single chapter heading is a title of a quilt pattern. So, da-dum-da. And she constantly discusses quilts. She brings them up in her narrative. That's also just a fantastic book in general. I watched the Netflix series. It was like a mini series on, I don't think I actually ever finished it. I started the series, decided I wanted to read the book, and was blown away by the book. And I don't think I ever actually went back to finish the TV series. I digress. Check it out though. So there's that. Okay. I'm making really good time this time. I'm not going to delete my footage this time. This has happened twice now on a different video, which I will discuss in my next actual floss tube. But I lost. I filmed a whole video and it was 40 something minutes of footage and it's gone. So I'm not doing it this time. I'm not doing it again. So now let's go on to the Stitching Monthly. So we're Camp Half-Blood, right? We're demigods, we're gods, we're titans. We gotta learn some stuff. I almost said a bad word. So we're training, okay? And as we're training, we're gonna learn skills and we're gonna earn weapons so that we can fight against different monsters. Because I can't say that word either, but you know what I want to say. Yeah. Just kidding. So each month they are going to give us, just like with books, they're going to give us different ranking monsters. There'll be a beginner monster, an intermediate monster, and the advanced monster, just like the books. With the books, I didn't cover it. It's 100 to 300 pages, 300 to 600 pages, and then 600 plus pages. And then I just know it's 10 plus hours. I think it's something to 6 hours, 6 hours to 10 hours, and then 10 plus hours for audio. I just don't remember what the first one, up to 6 hours or something. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I could go look, but I don't feel like it. Anyways, so we're being given 3 different types of monsters to fight. Each one is worth a different amount of stitches that we have to stitch to defeat that monster or train against that monster. And then if we win them, if we beat them in the month, we get to then earn weapons. So that will then be thrown against the other teams. By chance, by random luck of the draw. So we will. So say you can do whichever one you want. You can go against as many as you want. And each time you defeat one, you earn the special weapon. But if you complete the whole set, you will get a little drop of ambrosia that will then act as a healing balm for our team. So yes, each individual monster you make will earn us weapons. So yeah, you could do... So the beginner is 500 stitches, the intermediate is 1,000 stitches, and the advanced is 1,500 stitches. You have to do that many stitches. So you could do, if your goal is to do the 1,500, but you're I'm going to face the Minotaur as the beginner one. I'm going to fight the Minotaur 3 times. That's awesome. Cool. You earned us 3 celestial bronze daggers. But if you do 1 Minotaur, 1 Chimera, which is the intermediate, and 1 Medusa, which is the advanced, then not only do we get the weapons, but because you completed the set, you will earn that bonus ambrosia. So there is that incentive to do a whole set. Obviously, you don't have to. Do what you can do, but it would be, it's cool to think about. There is that extra incentive for finishing a set. If you do the 500 stitches for the Minotaur, we'll get that celestial bronze dagger. If you do the 1,000 stitches on the Chimera, you'll get a Stygian sword worth 500 stitches. So then we're like throwing, it's like, think that much damage. 500 stitches damage towards someone else. And if we defeat the advanced Medusa, we'll get a golden bow that shoots arrows. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we've got that. Sorry, I'm trying not to be distracted because I have Facebook pulled up, and so the team chat is popping up with notifications, trying to stay focused. That's what's going on there. Okay, so now let's break it down and let's cover the weekly, and then we're going to wrap this video up. So, we are starting off book 1 with our very first task, and it's just called The Beginning. And this is our first week of camp activities. So we're here, there's a lot of stuff going on, we're worried about monsters coming back to life, and campers are being attacked, and stuff's happening. So we have been given some tasks that we need to do, and we're trying to, and we're all here, we're all chilling, and there's this new camper here named Percy Jackson, and we gotta meet this dude. What the heck? So, let's jump in. When you post, you need to show when you start stitching, and when you're done stitching, you need to take a photo of where you've stopped, how many stitches you did, and you need to include like the cover art of your work. That way we can see how it fits, and you do need to provide that explanation for what's going on, especially if it's not obvious. And at the end of the week, make sure you tally up your stitches. For the first little while, unless I notice that it's a problem, I will be monitoring, and I will be trying to go through and reminding you guys to update your stitch counts at the end of the week. I'm going to try. So, first task, we've got sand. So, supposedly there was this rumor that Percy attacked something, and then when he stabbed it, the monster turned into sand. So we need to stitch. Originally it was we needed to stitch on something with a beach scene on it. Now we have kind of amended that. You need to work on something that has sand on it, because we do recognize there are sand in places like the desert. That's not a beach, but there is sand there. Because on this one, you just need 300 stitches on that scene, but you will earn bonus stitches if you do all 300 on sand itself. You'll get an extra 100 that you don't have to do. You'll earn a bonus if you actually stitch on the sand itself. Then, because we're talking about how the fates might have popped up, and the fates like to deal with thread and knitting and stuff, we're hoping to kind of appease the fates a little bit by offering them something that has socks or stockings on it. So think Christmas pieces, think people wear socks, so costumes and things like that. 300 stitches. I will have to take penalty on that one because I don't have anything with socks or stockings, and I will cover penalty at the end. For sand, I will be using Hogwarts because it shows Hogwarts, and to get to Hogwarts, you have to row up to the beach, and it is in the whip. Then Percy really likes blue food. He and his mom are like obsessed with blue food, and so to honor his mom, we have to, your stitch just has to have something blue on it. That can be anything as long as it's blue. You get bonus stitches if you stitch all 300 stitches in blue, but you don't have to stitch in blue, just something that has blue in it. Again, I could use Letters from Hogwarts because there is the Ravenclaw blue. It's endless. Dresses, items, books, cakes, foods, anything like that. Then we need to Task 4. This is all about how we find out that Grover is actually a satyr, but this was a huge shock to Percy, and satyrs are half human, half goat. So for this one, we need to stitch on something that has both a human and an animal on it. Think farm pieces, I think Anzac, think probably some some long dog sampler pieces. Pretty sure they typically will have a human and an animal on it. Just take a look and see what's available. But definitely a lot of farm scenes will have people and animals. And then number 5. So we have 6 tasks total. 5 is all about ambrosia and how ambrosia is supposed to taste like all the best comfort foods, all of the things you love most food-wise, and comfort you. So this is, and for Percy, it's cookies. It's his mom's very specific cookies, and so we need to find something that has some sort of dessert on it. My oven is going off. Do you hear that? So we are doing cakes, pies, cookies, cupcakes, anything like that, traditional desserts, but you can also do candy, and fruit also counts. You could have fruit for dessert. And then last but not least, we are also doing the last stitch is because we're here. Yeah, cross stitch is a mandatory activity here at camp, but obviously we want to incorporate other activities for you guys. We need to stitch on a whip that features an activity that you would like to do and explain why we should do it. I will more than likely do my stitches on Book Lover's bookshelf because it has books and I like to read, and I think reading, even though we're already doing reading should also be mandatory, not just extra credit. I will be doing that. And for ambrosia, I would have to use, I can use Letters for Hogwarts because there are drinks, but specifically for desserts, in one of the chapter options, you could go to Honeydukes, which is the sweets shop, and candy. So I will be doing that. So that's that. So there are a total of 6 tasks and a total of 1,800 stitches. Do your best. We don't have to do all of them. It'd be great if you can, but you don't have to do all of them. So with that, I believe my dinner is ready, and I'm going to go feed my kid, let my dogs in, answer some messages, perform my camp leader duties, and I need to start stitching myself because I am leaving this week, but I am not bringing Letters from Hogwarts with me. It's huge and there's so much thread, and the pattern is like 20 something pages just for the introduction, just for like the top part and the border. No, and plus that is a gift for my sister, and I had already asked her if she wanted it to be a surprise or if she wanted me to send her updates on it, and she wants it to be a surprise, so I'm not bringing it just in case she would accidentally see it. But I will be taking Book Lover's bookshelf with me since it is much smaller and much easier to handle and will easily fit in my project bag. So with that, I'm going to go do some things. I'm going to film some more because I still also want to do my planner walkthroughs. I keep wanting to call them my planner flip-throughs. But with that, I'm going to leave you guys here. So I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy stitching, happy reading, happy listening, happy watching, happy doing whatever it is you enjoy doing that makes you happy. So I'll talk to you guys later. Be easy with your hearts.